Hey friends, go and pour yourself something warm and cozy. I've got a cup of hot tea here. We're gonna sit down and have a little mama chat about Christians and celebrating Thanksgiving. So stay tuned, let's talk about this fun, exciting, highly controversial topic. Ready? Hey guys, I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Home and welcome back to my channel. You guys know that I love sharing things about biblical living, simple living, minimalism, homeschool, being a keeper at home, biblical womanhood, bees buzzing in my face, things of that nature. But I like keeping it real over here. Guys, I know that that's hard to do on the internet because people get weird and I end up with so many comments and messages and things that it's a lot easier to just talk about the nice pretty things in life and not the serious topics because people are crazy, especially on the internet. But I like talking about the real things. It's who we are. We're raw, transparent, open people. That's what you're gonna get here, sorry. And I shared with you guys a little while ago about how our family, as followers of Christ, completely abstains from anything to do with Halloween. I don't see as Christians how we can support any facet of that. And we talked about that. We can link it up here in case you're like, what are you saying, crazy lady? But this bee is really enjoying my whole setup here. We actually have a little bit of warmer weather in North Carolina. It's only going to last for a minute and then we're supposed to nosedive down. It was 80 degrees the other day and we have a chance of snow in our forecast. That's how crazy our weather is. But anyways, I'm trying to sit outside and enjoy this a little bit before it becomes freezing. So I'm just gonna have to deal with the bees buzzing around because there's a chicken up here. Hold please. You cannot talk back. You know you're not supposed to be up here. We ghetto fenced in our yard up here forever ago because the chickens, they come up here and they poo on everything, you guys. Chickens are awful. We love our chickens, but they're awful. So I glanced back and noticed a chicken, and then the other chicken was also up here. So I just had to run around the yard and chase them all out. But what I love is, I don't know, can you see her? See her over there? She's right there. Chocolate. Chicken's name is Chocolate, yes. Anyways, she fusses at me. Whenever she gets in trouble and gets kicked out of here, she walks around just burp, burp, burp. Like, yeah, you're a bad chicken. You're in trouble. Anyways, I don't even know where I was at or what I was saying, but we don't celebrate Halloween. Don't see any reason why you should. Those of you who followed, you guys know that we actually quit Christmas years back. We don't celebrate any secular holidays. We just don't. And why we don't is because the more I studied in and just learned about where stuff came from, the more disturbed I was. And then the more I really just stopped and thought about where my heart's focus was in those things, it just, I couldn't argue biblically why I should be focused on all the decorations, all the presents, all the, you know, all the stuff. It was just so worldly. All of these holidays are just so worldly. It focuses us on the Lord. And the thing that really got me, especially with Christmas, which again, we can link videos if you guys want to go check them out. And we're getting to be that season, so I'm sure we'll be talking about it a lot more soon. And I'm happy to answer y'all's questions. If you have any questions, you can be straight up and honest and be like, hey, what the heck, lady, and leave them down below. Heck, my husband's family thinks that we don't celebrate Christmas because we're just too poor, so we stopped celebrating it. That's what our family thinks about us. So I'm telling you, if you got questions and you're like, hey, I want to ask this, you can ask it down below. I'm sure you will be much kinder than even our own family. So feel free. I have no problem being honest and answering questions. Promise I'm not one to be quickly offended. But the more I just looked at it and was like, wow, like where biblically can we see this, right? Where biblically do we see, you know, God approving of them, you know, following the world's ways and festivals and, you know, things like, how do we see this? I'm not reconciling this. And outside of that, where do we see biblically that we should be so focused on these worldly things and possessions and, you know, spending so much money on this stuff? And I couldn't reconcile it. And so that caused us to really just step away. The more I learned, and then after we had stepped away, I started learning more about the God's holy days, about the 7 feasts throughout the spring and the fall, and learning about things like, Day of Remembrance like Purim, a festival of dedication like Hanukkah. So the more we learned about that stuff, our family really has just kind of shifted our focus, and we love it and we look forward to it, every year throughout all the feasts and days of remembrance and dedication, and just whatever. But in all that, the not celebrating stuff, part of it was how I was learning about where it came from, thinking about where our hearts are really focused on throughout all of these holidays, the fact that we blend in and we just look like the world. But then Christians, we have this way, the church has had this way, which goes rooted back to Constantine and the Catholic Church and all kinds of nonsense, but we have this way of just like putting a Jesus sticker on stuff and being like, this is Christian, this is good. I can't find it biblically. I can't reconcile what we're doing biblically. I can't reconcile what we're spending money on. I can't reconcile what like our heart's true desire is in this. I can't reconcile any of that biblically. But we've made a church service for it. We've posted a Jesus sticker on it. It's good. That's why we're doing this, right? Be it Halloween, we're witnessing, or Christmas, it's Jesus's birthday, or Easter, it's all about Jesus's resurrection, right? Like, we have all of these ways that we've tried to plaster this Jesus sticker on something, and it left me just feeling so icky and gross that I'm like, no, thank you. Like, God has his holy days. He has everything that points to Jesus, is all about Jesus, is being fulfilled by Jesus. Like, if you're looking for something to celebrate about Jesus, that's in the Bible, right? Go celebrate that. That's what's about Jesus. I'm not going to take these pagan, secular, worldly things that have a Jesus sticker slapped on them and pretend that they're truly about the Lord, right? Like, I couldn't get over that. So all of that to say, because I think that's all kind of this in a nutshell, is then I feel like that leaves Thanksgiving. And I know that Halloween's a big one to talk about, even Christmas is a big one to talk about, but somebody brought up the point that they don't really see stuff about Thanksgiving. And you're right, you kind of don't. Like, I see some stuff, but not like you do the other ones. And so I think it's worthwhile having a conversation of, well, as Christians, what about Thanksgiving? Should that be something that we celebrate? Obviously, this is, really going out to those of us in America. I know other countries have similar type things, but really this is for Americans. And what do we do here then with Thanksgiving? Is it biblical? Should Christians celebrate this? Is this something we should stay away from, right? Like, how do we navigate that? So one more sip of tea. I always bring out a cup of tea to do these things. I don't want to break my cup. There we go. And then I get talking and everything is cold by the time I get done, but that's okay. I'll put some more water in it when I get in. What about Thanksgiving? So number one, Thanksgiving is clearly not a biblical anything. Number two, that doesn't mean that it's like anti-biblical or sinful, or I'm not saying any of that, okay? So those of you who are already commenting that stuff, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying in everything when it comes to these, right? Like I said, our family, we don't do 4th of July nonsense. We don't do, even Easter, Christmas, Halloween. Like, we don't do any of that stuff. But when you're trying to figure out any of these, right, I think it's important, number one, that we don't, I abstain from that, so I'm better than you are. No, that's never our attitude about anything. I think what it's all about is stopping, asking these questions, truly asking the Lord to convict you where you need to be convicted, and being honest and real with yourself. I hear so many people, even close friends and family that I love, that will listen to us talk about the topic of, say, Christmas, okay? And they go, yeah, like, I see that, I see the point you're bringing in, this is pagan, the church did this is this, right? They'll see this, they'll see, and they go, well, I just love the experience, I just love the decorations, I just love the whatever, so happy birthday, Jesus. And I'm like, but how does that say happy birthday, Jesus? You understand that makes zero sense, right? Yeah, but I like it. And I'm like, okay, well, at least just be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself that you're not celebrating that because you just want to celebrate the Lord's birth, which, whatever. be honest with yourself that you do it because you like it. You want to. It's a worldly thing that you just love and you don't want to give it up, right? Just be honest. For me, that's when I realized it, because I said, wow, I was Miss Merry Christmas. You guys have no idea. I used to get paid professionally to go in and decorate places and hold big elaborate Christmas parties. Like, y'all don't even know the person I used to be. Like, this is the stuff I did. And I realized, wow, and I held on to it like this. I loved it so much. We had multiple trees in our house. Like, I went all out. And then I realized that's idolatry. Why do I love this so much? I need to give it up. I need to just give it up. And as soon as I gave it up, I went, wow, there's a lot of heart issue rooted in that. What was I doing? That's ridiculous. So I think we have to start asking these questions and going, I mean, we do this across the board about everything. This can be hobbies, this can be sports, this can be activities, this can be holidays, this can be, I mean, anything. People, things, all of it. Your phone. You go, why is it that I'm holding on to this so tightly, right? What is my reason here for loving this so much? And there's valid reasons here. There's a sense of nostalgia, of coziness, happy memories, all of these things, right? For me, I started asking myself, okay, then why do I need Christmas for that? If I love the soft glow of lights in the dark winter nights, I don't need Christmas for that. I like, the fireplace going and being cozied up and watching family movies. I don't need Christmas for that, right? Like, you start unpacking these things in your head. Thanksgiving, I love family coming together and just that closeness and seeing people that you don't normally get to see. Okay, I can do that without Thanksgiving, right? You start unpacking these things of what is it that you love so much? What is it that you're holding on to so tightly, and why are you holding on to it so tightly? And then I started asking these questions and going, well, where did this come from? Where did this tradition come from? Where did the stories come from? Are they true? Can I find multiple sources? Right, there's the internet, gives you a lot of information. Doesn't mean you can trust everything you see. You got to really cross-reference stuff. Learn. And then as I'm learning about where the stuff comes from, where it started, what it meant, all of that, I go, okay, so now I need to take all of the origins of this, whatever holiday it is, right? Or whatever it's celebrating or whatever, because, I mean, we did this with 4th of July, right? Whatever it is, where it came from, what it's about, and then the what I'm so invested in it, right? What is it that I love about it? What is it that I'm holding on to? Is it the decorations, the lights, the presents, the, whatever it is that I just love so much about it? And then take all of that and cross-reference it with Scripture. If I look biblically at this, can I find multiple verses to support being involved in this, holding on to this, loving this so much? Or am I taking worldly, pagan, secular things and trying to make it fit in with the biblical narrative? Am I taking worldly things that I just love and treasure so much and holding on to them so tightly that it's become idolatry? So you have to kind of work through and unpack that. And there's a lot in there. I'm not saying we're going to cover all of this today, right? Because there's a lot to unpack. So I feel like you need to do that for anything that you celebrate, you spend time on, you spend money on, you spend priority on, anything in that, you should do that, right? Why am I holding on to this so much? Where does it come from? What's it about? How is the world connecting this, right? Biblically, can I hold this up? Biblically, do I see God going, yes, go and put yourself, put your time and money and effort into that, right? Biblically, can you see that? If not, you need to really look at your heart and say, then what am I doing here? Okay? So that's kind of just holidays in general, right? Again, if you have specific questions, ask them. We'll get to that. So for Thanksgiving specifically. So Thanksgiving, I feel like I want to love it so much more because it's like the forgotten holiday, right? Because it's everybody does all this stuff for Halloween and all that garbage, and then Christmas everywhere, good gravy. And then there's a sad little time of thanks that's supposed to be in there that is totally overshadowed by Black Friday, which isn't even Black Friday. It's like Black November, because already I can't even order groceries on my Walmart app without Black Friday deals. And I'm like, seriously, go away. Stop trying to sell me stuff, right? Whatever. The world's going to do what the world's going to do. So I want to have this special place in my heart for Thanksgiving because it's just sad how forgotten it is. I think there's a couple facets here. Number one, the Thanksgiving story. The Thanksgiving story is garbage. I think most of us grew up in school learning about the little pilgrims and the little Indians, and they came together and they had this wonderful thing, and it was so lovely, and birds in America, yay, eagles. Guys, it was a celebration, a time of feasting after they had teamed up with a Native American tribe, decimated, brutally murdering another Native American tribe, and then they came together and celebrated like, yay, you and I, we linked up, we joined together, we murdered all of them, go us. What's to celebrate in that? Like, I don't mean to be Wednesday Addams over here, and what is that, Addams Family 2 or whatever. I'm not recommending you go watch it. I'm just saying, right, where the little Christina Ricci, when she comes out and they're doing the thing and she's like telling them the true story and they're like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? But that's what it is, okay? Our kids, we teach true history, right? History is written by the winners and people twist it, and American history has done a real good job of being like, yay, us, and then you start learning about the real facts and you're like, oh, we're awful. Who did that? We celebrate this? This is awful. So let's just be honest with what it is, okay? This isn't this great, wonderful Pilgrims and Indians story. We're great friends, look at us go. It was all about murder and bloodshed and that's our whole country's foundation is such a just brutal story that we don't want to go into all of that right here. But let's be honest, that's what it is. So number one, if you're going to look at it truthfully, okay? Where Thanksgiving comes from, it was years and years later before it even became like a national holiday. So I think when we look at it from culturally, what the foundations of Thanksgiving, hot garbage, you guys. That's not at all what it was, okay? So does our family celebrate Thanksgiving in that American way of celebrating Thanksgiving? No, because that's not what truly happened. The history of this is very dark, very bloody, very unchristian, right? Very unbiblical, right? Scripture tells us that a nation built upon bloodshed isn't going to stand. And when you look at what our country did, yes, were the Native Americans worshiping demons? Yes, that's what all of that is. You look back into the study of the Nephilim from Genesis 6 and all of that in Native American culture, and it is very, 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 very heavy in all of that, right? So, yes, they weren't godly people, but does that mean that we should have come in and did what we did? No, not at all. You can't, the whole American Revolution, all of that, like, it's not biblical. None of it is. John MacArthur does a great thing. He's got a great book, breaking down all of that. But anyways, it's not biblical. So are we worshiping, this whole country idea and all of this with our Thanksgiving celebration? You're not going to find that in our house. I don't see how you can argue that just from a pure historical standpoint. I don't know how you could connect all of that. So when it comes to celebrating Thanksgiving in that right, I don't see how you could get to that. I mean, any just research will show you that that's not at all what this was. So then the other side of it being the, fun, cozy day together, but really you're just plotting out your Black Friday shopping and what you're going to get, right? We have a day of thanks before we all head out and buy the things we just have to have. No, you're not going to get that over here. I don't do any Black Friday shopping. It's all a bunch of garbage. You're just being marketed to. Stop spending your money on useless junk. Stop. Like, it's not worth it. The going out and the mass crowds and the trampling everybody to get the stuff and all the things, like, why have any part of that? That's insane. People can't wake up early in the morning to have dedicated time in scripture, but you can wake up to go and trample one another to purchase junk you don't need. Sounds like America right there. Sounds like the American Christian right there. So I think if any of those are your focuses, you need to stop and really reevaluate your heart. Okay, again, I'm not saying whatever, that's between you and the Lord. I'm just over here gabbing. I'm just saying stop and think about it. If that's where your heart's focus is, then you might need to stop and hold up the mirror a little bit, really dig into scripture and say, why am I taking part in this? What about this accomplishes my living reverent, right? My living as God has called me to. Go to Titus, right? We talked about biblical womanhood. We've got our 12 quality traits in there of what a biblical woman is to be, that God has clearly called you and designed you for. Go look through that and then say, okay, in taking part in all of this and being so obsessed with it and so focused on, like, how am I fulfilling this great commission that the Lord has given me? How am I doing that? And if you can't reconcile those things, then you need to cut it out, okay? But I still think there is a case for Thanksgiving. And, you know, even to a degree, maybe you could tie this into, you know, like Christmas or something like that. But what I think overall Thanksgiving has really become in our modern day to day. So clearly we're not going to do the whole Pilgrim and Indian story. It's garbage. It's a lie. Do not teach it to your kids. Be truthful and honest with what it is, okay? I'm not going to get into Black Friday nonsense. I'm not like, I try to keep my house as minimal as possible. You think I'm going to go out there with all those crazy people, wake up early in the morning just to go buy a bunch of garbage? No, thank you, right? I don't need it anyways. Am I going to do all that? No. I think what's cool about Thanksgiving is that it is a little removed from Christmas and from Halloween, right? It's kind of in this middle, kind of removed a little bit. It reminds me of like our celebration of the fall feasts earlier in the year with Sukkot and coming together in this gathering and feasting and all of that. So you kind of feel that same idea. But what I like about it is most people are off of work for Thanksgiving. Our family chooses to live radically different than the norm because we want to serve the Lord. Not that you can't serve the Lord living in the norm, but I'm saying that we don't want to be a part of the rat race. I don't want to be a part of its system. The world's going to be the world. No thanks, I'm good. We live very different. That means we have to live very simply. We have to be very frugal. We're the weirdos out here in the mountains that are on a totally different time schedule than pretty much everyone else that we know, okay? We love it. We love a simple, quiet life. We like doing this. That's what it is. No one else in our family on any side lives like that, okay? So that means that to serve them, to kind of witness to them, we know, like my husband's family in particular, they will not take time off to do family stuff. They are a very disconnected family. Family is not a priority to any of them. It's very heartbreaking. The one time a year that I've ever been able to get any amount of them to come together is usually for Thanksgiving. They've got time off work. They've got some vacation days. Everybody's traveling to be with family. At least they get a little sense of like nostalgia. And I say, hey, we will host you all if you guys want to come over. If this means that, you know, in years past, right, we'd have my mother-in-law. I say, hey, if this means we can actually get you guys to come see your mother, to actually come pretend to be a family for 48 hours even, if that's what we can do to get everybody to come together, to take advantage of the fact that, yes, in our country, the system is set up that people usually have time off of work over this week, I will cook a meal. I will open my home. I will set everything out so that y'all can come over. So it's not about the Indians and the Pilgrims. It's not about Black Friday. It's not about this, like, you know, whatever you want it to be. It's about, hey, everybody has time off of work. Everybody's already kind of got it in their head, this sense of like, ooh, family, come together. My house is open. If you'll come over and you'll be here, that's awesome. I'll host you. I'll host y'all all day long. I'll do all the stuff. I'll put on the apron. I'll light the candles. I'll bake all the things and cook all the stuff. And like, I'll do all of it if that means that my husband's family will actually come together, pretend to be a family for even a small amount of time, that can be a blessing to my mother-in-law, a blessing to my husband, my children. That's the only time really they ever get to see, my hair is totally falling everywhere, they ever get to see any of their family. I'll do it. All for it. If that's what it takes, I'll do it. Even if your family gets together regularly, if this is a time that people will kind of be forced because they're off of work to set work aside and all the worldly stuff aside and just come together and be together for just that like simple family connectivity, that's awesome. That's cool. You're not going to see me, doing Indian Pilgrim whatever stuff. Like, you're not going to see me like laying out Black Friday ads so we can plan them out or anything like that. But our culture here in America, most things are closed. The world, it's kind of like COVID, right? I kind of liked COVID, the fact that it forced people to come to a stop, right? Stuff was closed. You couldn't go places. Work was closed, all that. You had to be at home. You had to refocus your life a little bit and be like, wow, what have I been doing? I kind of like that it's this forced close for a day, 2-ish, that if people will stop and come together and just gather as a family, that's amazing. Because that's what we should be doing all the time, not just on Thanksgiving. But if you're like us, and your family's not in the same place, your extended family isn't in the same place, and this means that everybody will put everything aside, gather together, and just be a family like we're supposed to be, that's awesome. I also know a lot of people who feel obligated to go be a part of these big family things on Thanksgiving, and they have genuinely awful, toxic family situations. In no way, shape, or form do you have to go subject yourself to ungodly situations for the sake of the holidays. I don't care. There are some family things that have happened in our family over the years that we don't go to, because I know it's a lot of just ungodly, worldly focus and just toxic relationships and things that I'm not going to subject me and my husband and our children to for no good reason, for the sake of the holiday. It's a day. Who cares? It's a made up day that all of a sudden we say, ooh, this day is special. No, it's not. It's another day. So I think there's a balance there. If you have family that will actually sit down, put the world on pause, come together and just enjoy one another, what a way to live out your life for the Lord in front of them and share with them and come together in that. That's awesome. I'm not going to overdo the whole thankful thing, because you should be that thankful to the Lord each and every day. And really, most of the things everybody talks about being thankful for over Thanksgiving are just worldly material possessions that burn in the end. So like, I'm not going to be thankful for that. Like, yes, I enjoy the things the Lord has entrusted to me, but I'm a steward, right? I'm not here to just, look at my things. I love my new PS5 I got, and my vacuum I'm going to go get tomorrow, right? Like, I'm not going to do that. But on the other hand, if you keep subjecting yourself to just a toxic, messed up, drains you, like negative thing for the sake of the holiday, why? Why torture yourself? Like, how? Are you really being able to go in and witness and do this? Or are you just having to go in and get beaten down by people for the sake of family and holiday? I don't understand that. Like, stop torturing yourself. I think we did a podcast talking about dealing with toxic family. We'll try to link that up here if we can find it. Because that's a big one I see during the holidays. And that's just nonsense. Like, guys, put a stop to it. Stop torturing yourselves. Maybe you need to grow spiritually before you can deal with that. Maybe something needs to happen with that before you need to even be involved in it. Whatever the case may be, you've got to weigh that stuff. But don't torture yourself for the sake of a holiday. It's a made-up day. Who cares? So, can Thanksgiving be a fun thing, a fun time? I think, yeah, just for the sake that our country actually kind of, pretty much everybody will kind of close down a little bit and say, hey, spend some time with your family. Sure, we should be doing this anyways, all the time. If that means maybe unbelievers or kind of distant family will actually come together, cool. Why not enjoy the opportunity to be together with family? Are you going to see me in the store losing my marbles over Thanksgiving and all this stuff? No, absolutely not. I will say, and I've got it linked down below, I use Ibotta. And I used it because a friend kind of told me about it a few years back. This year is looking to be the most expensive meal ever made by American families because inflation is so high. Turkey per pound is up 112%. That's insane. Ibotta does this great thing every year where you can essentially get a free Thanksgiving meal It's so fantastic. I have it linked up to my online shopping, so I automatically get money back and all of this stuff. It is so cool. You guys can sign up with my code. You're gonna get special promos. I will link it down below. And then I also have a link that's just freebies and things that I have like connections with that you guys can save when you click on my links. So we'll put the Ibotta one down there and then just the other one in general. It's got a bunch of cool stuff. But if you guys are wanting to cook a special meal and you like some of the traditional Thanksgiving foods, or you just want this stuff just to have in general because it's a great deal, I will link that down below. You guys use my Ibotta code and you're gonna get extra freebies and stuff. They give me a little kickback so I can get our family's groceries, and it really is just a win-win deal. But it's very simple and easy to use, and especially if you are wanting to get, you know, kind of any of these foods and just cash back on all the other stuff that you're getting anyways, super easy thing to use. I love it. So for our family, we keep it really simple. I don't think this year any family is even contemplating having anything to do with us and coming together because they're all too busy with their own lives, which whatever, it is what it is. But we usually, you know, it's kind of a normal day for us. I like making a kind of traditional meal because my husband hates turkey. He hates turkey with a passion. Turkey is not allowed in our house. I love a roasted turkey. So this is my one day a year that I can make turkey and cranberry sauce, and my husband doesn't give me grief. So my brothers are usually here. I don't know what my mom's doing. She's usually doing other things. So, I mean, that kind of stinks, but we get together. I get to make my turkey. So once a year, I get turkey and cranberry sauce. Like, that's what it's all about. My kids watch Freebirds every year. My kids hate turkey. They watch Freebirds and eat pizza. If you guys ever saw Freebirds, I'll try to link it down there if I can find it. It's a cute little movie. It really is. And the whole thing is he's the pardoned turkey from the White House, and he goes back in time and changes history. So they eat pizza for Thanksgiving instead of turkeys, and he saves all the turkeys. It's really quite cute. So our kids eat frozen pizza. My husband usually ends up eating frozen pizza with the kids. I get turkey for my once a year. I get to eat turkey, and that's really it. Like, it's not a whole day affair unless we have people that we're hosting. For us, it's usually just like what we're making for dinner that night. We go about our same usual day. Really, nothing's different. But that would be the only kind of thing that we do. Obviously, of course, if family will come together and I can host something, I make sure our home is cozy and inviting for all the family to come in and to really get to spend time together. And I will cook every single thing that anybody wants. I ask everybody what they want. I cook it all. And I love being able to serve my husband and his family by way of my cooking and doing all of the stuff, so that way they can just sit and be together, because that time is so few and far between for my husband that I love being able to do anything I can to give him that. But like I said, I don't think any of them are going to do any of that this year, so it's probably just gonna be us, probably my brother. Like I said, my kids will have a normal day. My kids will watch Freebird, and come dinner time, they'll eat frozen pizza and I'll eat turkey and cranberry sauce. So it's not very exciting, but that's where we're gonna be. Hopefully this has helped. Hopefully it's not just me rambling at you guys for the past 30 minutes. I pray this can help though, as you kind of unpack and sort through all of this for yourself and your family. If you have any specific questions, again, feel free to leave it down below. Guys, sign up for Ibotta. Even if you're not making a Thanksgiving dinner, you're gonna save on food when you do that. You get cash back. It's really awesome. You can cash it out. Very, very helpful. Like I said, I link it to just my regular grocery shopping accounts, and then I just get stuff back when I'm buying stuff. Or you can go through and look through their coupons and pick out things specifically, but it's really easy. So make sure to check that out and those different links down there. Have any questions, feel free and ask them. Otherwise, hopefully this helps a little bit in at least dealing with, as a Christian, Thanksgiving. How do we do these things? How do we navigate this? So see you all later. I'm gonna go put some more hot water in my tea because I'm sure it is now freezing cold, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Whoa, you know what would be really, really cool is I know you just watched this video that you just watched, but it would be so awesome if you would want to subscribe to the little thing. And then if you did want to watch other things, I have a few I could suggest over here somewhere. They're gonna show up and you're gonna see them. And if you click on them, you could go watch those. And that would be awesome because then we're hanging out and you can comment and we'll chat and be like, oh yeah, that was cool, and do the whole thing. You should totally do that. And then if you want to get really crazy, you could even click that blue join button that's down there, because then not only would, you know, we be hanging out here, but you could come join us for the collective, right? That's our membership area where we're doing studies and we've got a private group and like we do all these really cool fun things. You're going to want to come do that. Unless you already do that and you're still seeing this video, then you don't have to worry about clicking the blue join button because you're already there, but then you already know that all this stuff is awesome. So no worries, we got you covered. See you there.